Hey guys, it's Dorian Chadwick from Movie Smack, and you're watching The Max. You're probably wondering what The Max is. I have a little video telling you what it's about, but if you need a little refresher, here it is. It means Media Market Analysis Exposition. On this show, I usually talk about the money, the advertising, the box office, how much it makes, or what the sales are on movies, and see what does that mean for filmmakers, the studios, you the audience. Because believe it or not, these numbers do impact you in some way or fashion, even if you don't realize that they do. And seeing how this is our first episode of 2016 and also our first episode ever, I thought I'd go over what happened in last year, 2015's box office. 2015's box office wasn't particularly interesting, but there were a couple of surprises. Not surprises as, oh my goodness, this made money! But more surprises as, wow, that made more money than I thought it would. But 2015 did show us a couple of interesting things. Number one, nostalgia is still the best moneymaker ever. Number two, goodbye to the modern day action hero, or rather the traditional action hero. And three, superhero films may finally be coming to an end. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but you get the point. Now, nostalgia is first on the list because if you look at the top 20 films at the box office, each one of those films is a property from something either from our childhoods, teen years, or just movie history. And a lot of these films have not had any sequel of any kind in a decade. In Max's case, it's been 2 decades. Let's take a look at Jurassic World. It grossed $1.6 billion in the box office, making it the 3rd highest grossing film of all time. Man, people really wanted to see dinosaurs this year. But it's just more than that. Star Wars was not a surprise in how much money it made, but how much that it broke weekend box office records. 238 million. Last held by The Avengers. MMAX and Peanuts did okay as well. They grossed in money that either matched their budget or surpassed its budget by a little bit, but they did well enough to earn them some sequels down the line. But let's get back to Jurassic World. $1.6 billion on a film that has not had a good entry since the first one, according to many critics and fans. Jurassic World was a surprise for all of us, including me. I thought it was going to make a modest $600 million at the most. But it blew out everyone's expectations out the water. Even though the film itself I don't think it's very good. It's okay, it has a lot of fun moments. But it's not the first thing I would choose to make $1.6 billion. And because of that, many thought that this could be not really the demise, but the slowing down of the superhero genre. Considering that Avengers got beaten out by both Furious 7 and Jurassic World. Pardon you, by not much, but it still got beat. So many thought the superhero genre would finally slow down. I don't really think that's the case, even though Avengers only brought in $1.4 billion. The Furious 7 only beat it by $100 million, and Jurassic World only beat it by an extra $200 million. So the gaps aren't particularly that huge considering. My suggestion is that this is more from people really just realizing that, hey, there's going to be more of these things. I'll catch the next one, or I'll catch the one that really catches my eye. The first Avengers made as much money as it did because it was a novelty. No one's seen it before, and it hasn't been done before. So when we get to the sequel, we've already seen it. So people are just going to probably wait around to Netflix, or when it hits Redbox, or when it comes to Amazon, whichever happens first. And a side note, this could just be because people are kind of gearing up for 2016. We're about to get hit with, I believe, 5 superhero films, 3 from Marvel and 2 from DC. So it's probably just people gearing up for that and waiting to save their money, their big money for that. I don't know. And speaking of superhero genres, the traditional action star that we've known from the 70s, 80s, and even the 60s is probably disappearing. And this makes sense. Hollywood's latest prodigy or big guy, whatever, is Jai Courtney. A couple of years ago, it was Taylor Kirsch. And just like Taylor Kirsch, Jai Courtney's films have pretty much bombed whenever he's the lead. Now, some have pointed out that superhero films have kind of taken that traditional action star, kind of tossed them to the side. Rather, I believe that people just probably want different faces now. I mean, let's look at Star Wars. It stars the black male lead and a female lead. Look at Fear 7. It has one of the most diverse casts that we've seen a blockbuster really ever have. Sure, they're all playing stereotypes or archetypes we've seen before, but none of them are really traditional outside of maybe The Rock and Vin Diesel. And Vin Diesel doesn't really make any money outside of Furious or Riddick. I mean, look at the other films. Mad Max, a film where many people argue that Furiosa is technically the protagonist and not Max. Or the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, where you have a female lead. It could show that maybe audiences want more diversity in their leads, and that Hollywood is maybe giving us what the people want versus what we think they want to see. You could argue that this is just a symptom of franchises that have already been established and then building off what they established before, which is kind of true. Each one of these franchises I just mentioned have had previous installments. So it probably wouldn't matter how much they change the leads or not. I don't know, it's difficult to say until later next year. However, it is still a trend to notice, because we technically are still moving away from the traditional action star. Chris Evans, Paul Rudd, and Chris Pratt. Those guys aren't known for dramatic roles or even action roles. They're mostly known for their comedies. And to see them come in and perform as some of the year's best action films, Avengers, Jurassic World, Ant-Man, or at least the most profitable of the year, I shouldn't say best. Even Tom Hardy, who had, I believe it was last year, the year before last, that a very artistic film, Low Key. He's really known for his acting, and while he had starred in an action movie or two before this, he is still known more as an dramatic, big serious Oscar actor, not a action star. But seeing him in Mad Max, or having him be Mad Max, just show that maybe either Hollywood is either A, realizing that the traditional action guy isn't going through anymore, or B, audiences wanting more from action heroes themselves and not just the grunting, the plain phase, but actually want some feelings. I don't know, this could all be cynical and could just be held on to this year. So yeah, that does it for this episode of The Max. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you liked the video, please rate it and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And as always, I'll catch you guys later.